Hi, I'm Barbara from Sussex Photo Edits and Restoration, and this is my second very beginner's tutorial for Photoshop Elements. This time I'm doing a portrait edit. I'm using Photoshop Elements 9, but these techniques pretty much work with any of the versions of Elements as well as full Photoshop. You might have to hunt and peck a little, but the same tools should be there. The best way to learn these techniques is to have your program open with your editor, an image up, and pause the video, flip the screen back to switch between screens back to your image and work along. I'm going to be a little rushed to show everything, so the pausing part is important. I've got an image up. It's got one layer over here in the layer panel, so I'm going to make a duplicate layer because I want to keep the original untouched for comparison. I start with enhancing my lighting. Maybe my exposure wasn't perfect, and it'll really show when I start adjusting these sliders here. You need to work with all three. Until you find it looking the way you want it to look. And that was very subtle, but has a pretty good impact. Underneath that Enhance tab, I could have also adjusted shadows and highlights, and there's a place to work with color. I'm not doing those today, but I want you to know they're there. Right now I'm just going to go duplicate the layer and get to the portrait part, which is faces. That's what the portrait's about. So I'm going to zoom in on the face, and underneath this band-aid are two tools, the spot healing and the healing brush. And maybe your version, if you have an older version, you might not have that healing brush, and I'm sorry if you don't. Spot healing is the most uncomplicated, easiest, and I start there. Anywhere I click and drag gets corrected. It corrects flaws in an uncomplicated kind of way, but it does a pretty nice job. It's a good tool to get rid of things fast and easy. The healing brush tool is a little more advanced. When I turn that one on, this cursor is now a brush, and I would select an area that I wanted to use, a good area. Go to a good place. Hit alternate, click, and now anywhere I drag this, it'll make corrections. And it's smart enough to know not to drastically change color or texture, but at the same time fixes. Let's take a look at before, after. Pretty nice. Turn off that middle layer. As I add layers, I like to keep just the top and the bottom lit, and then I can see the cumulative effect. I'm going to make another layer because now we are going to work on the under eye circles, how to lighten those up. I could have just continued with my healing brush tool, but it does such a nice job. It would eliminate all of the wrinkles. I don't want to eliminate all of those wrinkles because I want to keep this portrait looking like me. So I'm going to use a brush. Normally when you choose that brush, it would be under normal. Let's set it back to looking how it would when you first open it up. Choose a brush. Go to soft round. Doesn't matter what size because you can adjust that size by your bracket key on your keyboard. If you hit left, it gets smaller. If you hit right, it gets bigger, and that's about the size I want. I am going to go from normal down to lighten because all I want to do is change how dark or light this is. And I'm going to take the opacity way down means you'll be able to kind of see through it. Full opacity, you wouldn't see through it. Very little opacity, and you see most of the way through it. So 9–10%. I can't pick a source just by clicking and hitting alternate for the brush. I need to use the eyedropper and click on a piece of skin that's close to the color I want to change. Came out nice and pink. And then I get my brush and I just paint over. Can do it back here beyond the glasses as well. Pretty nice. Over here on this eyeball, I'd want to pick up another color because it's more in shade. It's darker, quite a bit darker. Use the brush. And you can see before, after. While I'm here, I see this discoloration on the glasses. I'm going to use the clone stamp and get rid of that. I picked clone, take the brush over here and pick a good area, alternate click. When I move it, it covers up that foggy. I don't know what the fog was, but that got rid of most of it, and I'm happier. Let's view, fit on screen. Pretty good. Going to move on to teeth. So we need another layer. As you go along, you can rename these layers if you want by right-clicking and choosing to rename, or double-click. But I don't care about renaming them. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to magnify those teeth pretty well. And I like to use, for teeth, I like to use the magnetic lasso tool. You have this round one that's called a lasso. Pick the middle one, the magnetic lasso, and then it sticks wherever you click, sticks to that outline. It allows you to get a very precise outline. Because to do the teeth, we have to select just the area of the teeth to work on. Which means after I have finished selecting, nothing else will be changed when I start making changes. Only the area within the marching ants. I'm going to go to Enhance, Adjust Color, Adjust Hue Saturation. I'm taking the saturation down because I want to eliminate colors that are in those teeth. Eliminate some of the colors anyway. And then I'll take the slider bar for lightness up. Not too far, leave some color, some dinginess in there because we're keeping it real. Select, deselect. You take a look, it did some pretty harsh changes around the outline. I take this little blur tool and go around the outline, and it gets rid of those harsh edges. Even though you may not see it when I take it down, you would definitely see it on a print, so get used to doing that step. Let's look at before and after. Fit on screen. The hair. We'll make another layer. His hair is kind of dull and flat. This sponge tool here underneath has a dodge and a burn. Dodge makes things lighter, burn makes things darker, sponge puts more color in. So I'm going to dodge, I'm going to lighten. And I want to lighten just the highlights in the hair. I don't want to I don't want to lighten the dark parts. I just want to lighten the highlights. Exposure, after you go over it 1 or 2 times, you'll see if you want to change how intense that effect is, but this is about right for me now. So as I move the mouse or the brush over the hair, you see highlights happen. Kind of nice. I can hit the baby's hair once too. Give her some highlights. The other side of that is, if I made the lights more light, it might be nice to make the darks more dark, so I'll choose the burn tool. shadows, very low exposure, 10%, because it's kind of intense. When I hit those darks, they really intensify. But that makes the strands of hair stand apart from each other. Looks nice. Midtones. Get the midtones a little bit too. Now, having done all that, you notice I didn't just change the intensity of the lights and the darks, but it also changed the color, put a lot of red in here. So I might not want that red. Let's go to the sponge tool. It's on saturate. We'll desaturate to take out color. And hit it a couple times, and it takes out some of the intensity of the reds that came up that I didn't like, but still kept it lighter. The other thing I would do with the hair is get rid of some of these flyaways that don't belong. I can do that with the clone brush. Pick a source, alternate click, move up, make them disappear. On the forehead, might use that healing brush tool. Pick a source, alternate click. I could spend a lot of time getting rid of all those pieces, except I don't have a lot of time. So there's before and after hair fixing. That was nice. The last thing I want to work on is this double chin. Sorry, it's got to go. And there are other ways to do it, but I like the clone, at least for this one today. Hit the alternate key in the dark of the hair. Just go underneath that chin and eat away a teeny tiny bit of that flesh. And that's plenty, that's good enough. The other thing is, if you add shadows by using the burn tool, add a little bit of shadow, it adds more definition to the chin line. Before, after. Okay, let's put it in fit on screen, take a look at any other changes we might want to do that aren't specifically skin related. And since I brightened up the hair so much, I might want to brighten up the background and the child's clothes. I would do that with saturate. Let's make a big old brush. Could actually desaturate the child's face a little bit. She got a little bit too much pink going on there. Get rid of those wrinkles. The healing brush tool. It's not just wrinkles on her face we can fix. And then, of course, you want to save in a file that's different from the original. So save as. I like to save as JPEG so I can send it email. You can save it in whatever file you want. It says I already saved a version, so I need to change the name to edited to. Okay. It's done. You would spend a lot more time and effort and do a cleaner job, but this shows you the techniques you need. Please look for more videos and visit my website at Sussex Photo Edits and Restoration. See you later. Bye.